Hello and welcome back to this week's missional equipping video. Today, I want to talk about something that we talked about on Sunday, which is listening. We are going through the blessed rhythms as a church right now, and so we thought it was a good idea to follow up a little bit about that in our missional equipping series as we lead up to Easter. Now, Jessica shared about listening on Sunday and gave a lot of helpful tips on how we should be listening. And really, when it comes down to it, we have a great model in the Bible for someone being a listener, and that is Jesus. It wasn't enough for God to sit up in heaven and look down at humanity, but he wanted to be present with us. And he did that several ways in the Old Testament, but the most stark way that he did that is through the life of Jesus, being born to a human and living life on earth before his death and resurrection and ascension. He was here and he was present with us. And it's interesting because when you take a look at the life of Jesus, when you think about who he is, you might be thinking, well, Jesus, he's one of the greatest teachers ever, if not the greatest teacher ever. And even people outside of Christianity acknowledge, if they believe that Jesus existed in some religions, they can acknowledge that, yeah, Jesus was a profound teacher. And even people who are agnostic or atheists, they can say, well, yeah, Jesus, while I maybe don't believe everything that Christianity says about him, I think there's a lot of great moral teachings that he gave that we can still live our lives by, even if I don't agree. And I want to tell you today, yes, I agree. Jesus is a great teacher, but Jesus, most importantly, is also a great listener. Jesus spent just as much time teaching as he did listening and asking questions. When Jesus spoke, he spoke to large crowds, and oftentimes not everyone would get a chance to interact with him. But there's a time that comes to mind where the disciples were holding back a group of children and saying, oh, well, don't waste the teacher's time. And Jesus says, well, let the little children come to me. And this is exactly what God calls us to do, is he calls us to sit and listen and to be present. And that's what listening is about, is showing others that we are present. It's not about us. It's not about me. Even if we have an agenda and we have things that we want to say, it's actually better to be able to put that aside so that we can show others that we are listening. Because, Jesus was sent from God to live in our neighborhood. And now Jesus is sending us into our neighborhoods to be good listeners.